Hello, and welcome. Welcome on into the Swear Word. I'm your host, Brandon Swear, and hey, this is a podcast for the Chillihead community, by the Chillihead community. Regardless of your spice tolerance, this is the place for you. Man, we have an amazing episode here tonight. We have two sauces on deck, and we have a great guest locked and loaded, ready to go, and a very fun game plan. So episode 126 starts now. What's going on, Swear Nation? So glad to have everyone here, whether you're tuning in on YouTube, Spotify, Rumble, Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for being here and making this show what it is. Continue to share this out with other like-minded chili heads, individuals that are just curious about the world of hot, because this is where you can find everything to do with the world of hot. Up tonight, we are having a New Zealand-packed episode. We have two sauces on deck from New Zealand that are going to be sure to excite and to light up those taste buds. So check out those on Hot or Not, as well as we have Clint Meyer of Fire Dragon Chillies here to discuss how he got started, the overall competitive nature that is coming out of New Zealand, as well as a little bit of history on some New Zealand overall just fun facts and things like that. So we're going to be diving into that one there. And we have a very fun game planned here. So if you would have answered the game any different than Clint does, go ahead, let me know down below in the comments what your answers would have been or how they would have varied. And let's do this. Let's go ahead and jump on over to Hot or Not. Welcome on into Hot or Not. Up tonight, we have two sauces on deck. These are both from Fire Dragon Chillies. These sauces are out of New Zealand, and let me tell you, I am excited for this. Once again, I don't like to do things in a 1 to 10 scale. I do things out of a 1 out of 5. That's based off of 5 different categories. Those categories are heat, aroma, flavor, versatility, burn. Yes, heat is different than burn. Heat is that max first 30-second window, where it hits, how it hits. Now, burn is post 30 seconds. That is where it sits. Does it intensify? Does it linger? Does it dissipate and come back? All these different things really start to factor into the overall burn. Now, another thing I do not like to do is read the ingredients ahead of time. I like to let my taste buds do the exploration and discuss what I am picking up, both from an aromatics and a taste standpoint. And then together we learn about those ingredients. So let's go ahead and check out the first sauce. Up tonight, we're going to be looking at the New Zealand green sauce. This is a dark, deep green going on here. You're seeing some seed bits. You're seeing what looks like some overall pulpy mass going to this sauce. It does have a nice screw lid on this, and let's take a listen. Wow. Right off the bat, a very nice aromatics from this. Very fresh. Picking up what smells like fresh, a little bit earthy, definitely picking up the pepper bits. There's an interesting note that I can't quite pick up. And then there's a nice, zesty, spicy undertone to that overall aroma. I can feel it dancing on the nostrils. It seems so familiar, but I can't quite pinpoint it. Nice wide mouth on this bottle and beautiful texture to this. Seeing a little bit of herbs was what it looks like, and maybe that's pepper mass going on. Nice heaping tablespoon. Oh my goodness. This smells so magical. Cheers. Oh my goodness. Immediately, just an explosion of flavor. Savory. There's this slightly sweet undertone that is there for about a few seconds before just this layer of bright, earthy notes just carry forward. The pepper body's carrying forward. What's interesting is that overall aroma that I was picking up that I couldn't quite pinpoint. It's almost reminiscent of like whenever I go out for sushi, a nice wasabi. It's that bright. I can even feel it as I'm talking, opening up the sinus passages in that same way. Bright note, crisp, clean cut right off the bat. Great pepper notes. Peppers in this, feeling it more on the front of the tongue, the front of the gums, initially. The heat is a nice quick flash. The burn is where this thing really kind of gets interesting. The burn is more parked back towards the back of the mouth, the back of the throat. Maybe some super hots in this. Now, if you're just starting out, this would be definitely one that would be a bit warm for you if you're not used to spice. If you're constantly working on your own personal best, this is going to be a nice medium heat sauce for you all day long, and an amazing one packed full of very bright, rich, earthy flavors. A nice little, almost kind of like a citrus undertone to this as well. So just absolutely am loving this here. New Zealand green from Fire Dragon Chillies. Burn where it sits now. It has completely left the front of the mouth. It is just really parked and ramped up in the back of the throat, which also makes me think there's got to be some super hots. Ingredients are New Zealand grown green chilies, organic cider vinegar, green capsicum, pure wasabi. That is making more sense now. Garlic, lime juice, New Zealand salt, extra virgin hemp seed oil, horopito pepper, and kawa leaf. Easily see this going great with anything Mexican, anything breakfast. This would also go great with some kind of a protein and rice, protein and veggie. It's going to lend itself very well to just about anything you have going on. That brightness, that pop, that initial aromatic pop, as well as that initial flavor burst that you get is definitely got to be coming from that wasabi. It is absolutely amazing and a great pairing to find here. So kudos there, Fire Dragon Chillies. All right, here we go. Heat coming in at 3.2, aroma of 4.12, flavor of 4.47, versatility of a 4, burn of a 3.67, for a total swear word rating of 3.9. There we go. Another amazing sauce. That one there is the New Zealand green from Fire Dragon Chillies. Let's go ahead and check out this next sauce. Dragon's Fury Pure Insane Hot Sauce. I have been told this is the hottest sauce that Fire Dragon Chillies offers. So, of course, this is not going to be geared towards those individuals that are just starting out, but this is going to be geared towards and catered towards us individuals that are constantly pushing our own personal best. As always, got my trusty tablespoon. It definitely seems like a thicker sauce just based on how it is flowing and how it is going. As I look at this, it is a bright, dark red color. It's definitely got some seed bits going on that you can see, and just some pepper pulp the whole way through. So let's go ahead and open this one up. Oh my goodness. Wow. Oh, wow. That is amazing. That smells like if someone were to just take some great super hots, smash them all together, and then cover it with a little bit of citrus and maybe a faint bit of garlic. That is what we have here. I am salivating already from this heaping tablespoon. Oh, look at that flow. That's beautiful. Nothing to it but to do it. Cheers. Wow. Wow. That is tasty. Holy cow. Screaming hot. Right off the bat, though, savory, calm, inviting, almost very like soothing right off the bat with this great savory depth that comes in there. Honestly, just a cascade of different flavor profiles of different types of super hots, really, as they roll in. As you can hear, it's just starting to hit the back of the throat pretty hard right now. Initial heat. Let's talk about that. You got about 10, 12 seconds before you really start to feel the heat slowly turn up. It hits the front of the gums, the front of the mouth. The whole entire mouth is pretty well coated. It really starts to latch in and park towards the back of the throat. That is where you're feeling the main focus and force of this overall sauce. Still nothing in the chest, nothing in the stomach. No worries there. I will keep you up to date as we go. If you are just starting out, not the sauce for you. If you are working on your own personal best, this is definitely going to be a nice high heat sauce for you. So definitely one to keep in that conversation whenever you're looking around at who has the hottest hot sauce. That's all natural. Feeling this one now really ramp up in the back of the throat. And so as that starts to go, I can feel my sinuses start to loosen up a little bit. Utilizing this in like soups, stews, sandwiches, burgers, tacos, quesadillas, enchiladas, pasta dishes, any kind of Italian dish would go great with this as well. Beautiful, bright, super hot notes carried through on the flavor. Then you get a nice little cut of citrus in there, and what tastes like maybe a little bit of garlic. The ingredients here. Insane chilies, which is to make up 80% of what is going on in here. We'll dive into those chilies here in a second. Organic cider vinegar, onions, garlic, lemon, lime, organic sea salt. Let's talk about the Superhots that are in here. Trinidad Scorpion Morugas, Carolina Reapers, Butch Teas, and Boot Jalokias. Absolutely wild going on in this sauce as far as what is in there. Having 80% of pepper in this, you know it's going to be hot. You know it's going to be a good time, but absolutely tasty at that. You know, definitely not sacrificing flavor over the intense heat that it brings. All right, here we go. Heat coming in at 3.89, aroma of 4.25, a flavor of 4.25, a versatility of a 4, a burn of a 4.3 for a total swear word rating of 4.14. There we go. Another amazing sauce. This one here is Dragon's Fury Insane. If you enjoyed these sauces featured here tonight, I will have the direct links down below for Fire Dragon Chillies, so you can check out these sauces in particular that were reviewed here, as well as a link to the main site so you can check out the full lineup of amazing products from Fire Dragon Chillies. But let's do this. Let's go ahead and jump on over to our interview with Clint. Hey, Clint, how's it going?
Good, bro. How you going?
Doing good. Glad to have you here. Obviously, I have heard amazing things from so many across the community, whether that be from League of Fire area or Troy or other chili heads that absolutely love your products. Glad to have you here and share with the rest of the world who may not be familiar with you, what you have going on and who Clint Meyer is.
Yep, sweet. Well, they're all legends that you mentioned there. So, yeah, been dealing with them for quite a few years now.
Definitely great people. And from everything I've heard, you're great company and great people to get to know as well. So one thing I always like to lead off with is really the only set question I have when meeting someone for the first time is, what got you into the world of spice, the world of hot? And then what was that moment that you decided, hey, I'm going to go ahead and make my own spicy products?
Well, yeah, there was always, growing up, I suppose Tabasco was one of the only sort of hot sauces that was around. So I guess we started off on Tabasco, and then there was sort of a few 21st when we were growing up where there used to be a bowl of chilies that was sort of going around, and I used to face off with a mate basically and would munch back these chilies, which were probably, I don't know what they were, but let's say they're probably 20, 30,000 Scovilles, maybe up to 50. So they were pretty hot back in those days. But sort of spent a lot of time traveling overseas in my 20s. So going through Southeast Asia for 3.5 months, started pretty much eating chili daily. And then I sort of had a working visa to go to Canada after there. And I was working in a little kitchen and ended up making a deadly sauce for their hot wings, which back in those days, habaneros were still, I guess, the hottest around, about 2005. Made a deadly sauce there, travelled through Central South America and was pretty much hooked by the time I'd gone through there. So I started collecting hot sauces and, came back to New Zealand and started growing chilies.
Nice. And you had quite the overall exposure to different sections of the world and the cuisine and how these certain chilies played into the culture aspect. As you got going, did you find that I guess time and travels and being in different places really helped play into your overall inspiration for the products that you make?
Yeah, for sure. And addiction, I suppose, in the end, sort of got addicted to those endorphin rushes and eating hot foods and, just seeing all the different ways and cuisines that they could go together. It's a long time ago now, I suppose. It's been a 20 odd year journey. The world of chilies certainly changed a lot since I started Fire Dragon Chillies in 2008. And then the New Zealand chili eating chance we started in 2011, and now that's just, obviously there's big chili eating comps around the world, and we've got world belts and intercontinental belts and Oceania belt down here. And yeah, it's been great for the chili eating world, and it just seems to be on the rise at the moment. Hey, it's yeah, certainly
Yeah,
going up.
definitely is something that you had mentioned earlier that definitely ties into what you had just mentioned there that I wanted to touch on. But the early on grabbing a bowl or grabbing a bowl of chilies and then going off against someone next to you as you started getting the competitions rolling. Do y'all host everything in New Zealand? Do y'all have any kind of hosting that's done in Australia? Do y'all often face off against each other? What does that look like?
Yeah, all of my comps have been just in New Zealand. Yeah, I haven't probably travelled since I got back, really, at the end of '05, I think it was. So we've had the Aussies come over, is it 4 or 5 years now? Sadly, they've bloody beaten us every time, so we're still waiting to get one up over them. It was pretty close this year. Yeah, the Oceania bout was, well, just under 3 hours this year. We had Dom, who came over from Sydney, and then Phil comes over each year. You had him on the other week as well, I think I saw.
Yep.
And yeah, so I've pretty much just been in New Zealand, but we're definitely looking at going to Aussie with our best chili eaters. And yeah, we had two guys that pretty much went with Dom down to a speed race at the end, which normally I don't like going to speed. It's endurance, but also we don't really like to push them past that kind of 3 hour mark. Nothing to drink. I think it was 61 chilies. I think Dom was thinking of relieving himself into the spew bucket kind of thing. And, you don't really want people starting to shit themselves on stage or anything, eh?
Yeah, definitely don't want that happening. I mean, it's there for that shock factor, but in all actuality, for the overall sport, probably not the greatest thing for those people that might just be for the first time checking it out. So, definitely makes
Got to have
sense there.
a bit of host responsibility in there, eh?
Yeah. Uh, having it be fun, having it be engaging, watching the intensity rise, right? All those are great things. Losing it on stage in that manner, probably not the thing that's geared towards the MC to really want to happen. So yeah, no,
I
makes
think three
sense.
hours is kind of a limit. I mean, we were thinking that'd be wrapped up in about maybe 2.5 hours, but the level that people can go to just keeps going up every single year, basically. It's when I first did the first one, I didn't think anyone would get past 10 chilies or 10 rounds, and now it's people that can eat 50, 100. I don't know what the limit is, I'm sure there's someone out there that could smash back 200 of probably the hottest chili in the world. Who knows how far it's going to go.
Yeah, it's definitely insane how it's really been able to unfold and all the overall, just much like you said early on, that rapid growth that we're seeing now, that overall exposure to whether that be just the grocery market itself, really starting to offer more spicy alternatives or, overall just change, trying to work in spicier offerings and stuff like that. You're seeing that adoption happen on a much more global level than, say, focused on just specific chili heads in general. The more normies, if you will, are starting to dabble and understand what spice is. So as that continues to grow, as competitors continue to train, and as spicy products continue to push new heights, I can only imagine the intensity at which these competitions are going to come out to be. It'll be definitely exciting to watch and to witness. Now, something that I was overly curious about as well, whenever Phil was on, and same thing, what does the overall, day to day, do you see many New Zealand dishes that are just naturally spicy, or is that something that is often seeked out by the consumer?
Well, I mean, we've got a lot of Thai, Indian, Mexican restaurants and stuff like that. So, lots of people get the Thai hot or, Indian hot, but, they always think, oh, yeah, the white fellas can't handle the heat kind of thing. But, Yeah, there's definitely more people eating it. Our national dish is probably the old humble pie, really, and there seems to be a lot of jalapenos in a lot of pies now, but not. Yeah. Oh, there's one guy that uses my Dragon's Fury actually in a pie down the line. So yeah, there's some hotter ones coming out as far as a New Zealand dish. Yeah, probably not high on the chili, but the scene's growing here a lot. When I first sort of started, everyone thought my sauces would be too hot for, I guess, the general population. But I get people that can eat my hottest one, like tomato sauce. It's like, sometimes you have kids at markets trying it, and it's like, whoa, hang on, like the older generation seems to have a bit of fear for the chili, whereas the younger ones don't seem to have that fear, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, and I mentioned that before too, and it really kind of, I guess, that same mentality plays into those individuals that are out there pushing themselves. They're competing, or maybe they're doing League of Fire challenge pushes for leadership boards and stuff like that. You're seeing the overall mentality shift really start to play a huge factor here. If you can get out of your own mental block and allow the idea that, what you're eating is not going to kill you. It may make things a little bit uncomfortable temporarily, but it's not going to kill you. That it is ultimately much more enjoyable. More people are willing to try it. And once they try it, they're like, okay, now I start to see why. You got the few that they still don't see why people push themselves, but you start to understand and appreciate that, yes, if you get to a certain point, then you got the endorphin dump. You also have the different ways that these different peppers taste, the overall notes and heats, and different ways that the burn comes on and how it lingers or how it might build. All of these things really starting to ramp into your overall dish and cuisine in that manner. So.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously the cap cramps aren't so good. If you push it past the comfortable limit, I mean, I still get the hiccups off, standard sort of heat chilies. Like, yeah, I can eat a super hot, but they destroy me, and seem to be getting a bit older now too. So I don't know if I can handle as much as what I used to, but yeah, I still have chili with every meal, every day. So yeah, it's good for you. And you're right, it's not going to kill you. So you'll be right. You might be curled up in fetal position on the couch, but it'll pass. It'll pass.
Yep. Yeah, definitely it will pass. And it's also an experience that typically scares or startles people, is that first time of hitting cap cramps and trying to figure out what is going on and why they feel that way. It's always a fun thing to have, to either talk someone through. I've had many times where I'd be working with someone and they would try a sauce that I'd brought in, or they would, it would be a potluck type of deal where everyone's bringing food and so on and so forth. And someone will try something spicy, and next thing you know, they're freaking out. And you're just having to talk them through exactly what they're experiencing and why they're experiencing it. But yeah, that part, sure, not the most fun aspect, but not the end of the world either when it comes to just really the enjoyment of chilies. So definitely like
Yeah,
it.
yeah. There's a fine line. Everyone's got different tolerance and heat levels that they can handle. So what someone would find really hot, others will find really mild. So yeah, it's all a bit of a personal choice preference there.
Yeah, no, definitely. I wanted to go ahead and pull up here for everyone that is watching and listening. Here's the Fire Dragon Chillies website. I mean, absolutely a giant help, a boost of information here for you to really figure out. You got everything from the recipes, you got your overall breakdown of your info from different types of chilies, and variations about it, and really kind of love what you have going on here. The fact that you offer all this knowledge as well as obviously a great source of heat and pleasure for some folks to be able to enjoy, whether that's your spicy chocolates or your hot sauces, or seed stalker powders, or peppers. You have a great selection going on here. What was the overall first product that you ended up rolling out?
The first, well, I did three sauces. So I sort of had a gourmet, which was kind of a carrot-based one. When I was traveling through Guatemala, I came across old Marie Sharp's sauce from Belize way back in the day, and that blew my mind. It was probably the best sauce I'd had at that point of my life. And so yeah, it's based on that a bit, as far as the carrot goes, because you wouldn't really think carrot goes in a hot sauce, but it puts a nice bit of sweetness in there, and it makes it nice and thick, and it's a good ingredient to put in hot sauce. And then I did a yellow extra hot, and then I did a red deadly. So the yellow was yellow chilies. I think it was Scotch bonnets and fatales maybe at that point. That was before the ghost chili had come out. So, or maybe the deadly was when the ghost chili had come out, '07. It's all hard to put back, but yeah, there's a few sauces that I started with, and then we sort of increased up to about 8 or 9, and I've sort of kept the range as it is for the last few years. I just didn't want to have to make too many sauces, really. Just sort of kept it as a core range, and we haven't added anything for quite a long time, since I did a sort of barbecue sauce. So, which is a hot sauce. It's not a barbecue sauce. It's just a hot sauce with barbecue flavors. I think that was 2015. Quite a few years. Yeah, so we've just stuck with the core range. Just for logistics and making sure your chilies get you through the whole year.
Yeah, definitely.
It's one of the trickier things as a hot sauce producer, is having enough chilies and not having too many chilies, and trying to keep all your customers happy so you don't run out, or don't sell out of too many, things like that.
Yeah, no, definitely makes sense. I guess on that note, do you find yourself having, are you much more of a local presence as far as your overall generation of sales, or do you see yourself, on a more global scale? Like, where does the majority of your fulfillment orders end up rolling out to?
Yeah, most of it's New Zealand. Did have a few decent salt orders to the States recently, actually. And so the website, we can send all around the world, and so you do get random orders from around the place, but we don't export as such. So pretty much 95% would be in the New Zealand market, at least, I'd say.
Okay, very nice. And is there a preferred or a top performing sauce for the New Zealand market for you out of the ones that you offer?
Well, yeah, pretty much. Probably the Dragon's Fury's the most popular, which is the hottest one. They're all pretty similar. I'd say probably the lesser heat, the less sales, and the hotter, the better sales, pretty much. So we always try and up the heat. It's hard to get hotter without adding extract, and we like to have that natural flavour. We don't really like the extract sort of flavour in our hot sauces, and don't really think they need to be that hot to add it in. So yeah, we always we keep adding a few new super hots each year, but we do a blend, so it's not just one chili in there. It's multiple super hots. And the Fury's got yellow, red, and chocolate super hots in there, so it's got all the different flavors, different heat levels, different parts of your mouth that it burns. That's what we try and do, as you'll see when you try it, bro. So make sure you
Yeah.
do a good teaspoon of it.
Oh yeah. No, it's tablespoons only over here. So I'll be
Tablespoon.
yeah. Tablespoons is the way that I do the reviews. It's just I don't know. You go to these events, these whether it be hot sauce expos, etc., and you go around to the booths and you're trying things, and it's that tiny little. You either have that tiny plastic spoon or the foldable piece of paper or the wooden spoons, and those things they're great for what they are, and they're probably great for, I would say, 90% of the individuals that are going to these markets and checking out these different products. But for me, I'm like, it's just enough to kind of slightly pick up the notes, but not enough to pick up all the notes that I'm wanting it to try to find. And the aromatics on it, not quite the same as whenever you have a larger amount of sauce there, because then you can kind of really pick up the full body of the overall profile that you're picking up from the aroma standpoint as well as the flavor standpoint. And then also a great judge of exactly how hot things are about to be whenever you're having straight sauce at that amount. So yeah, it's. I think time might tell that I end up just getting a permanent spoon for going around places and trying things like that. I don't know how many would be happy to see me roll up with a tablespoon to their booth, but
Mate,
maybe.
I like people to dip. They have a bit of a dab. If they do take a big scoop, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, good luck. And yeah, lots can handle it. It's quite amazing what people can handle. I mean, yeah, I get some people that just pour it all over their food. It's just like, mate, a couple of tablespoons plus sort of thing. We really got a teaspoon will kick my ass still, on the hottest one. So. Yeah. I mean, it's. I see you got a chili comp coming up. Hey, have you competed before in chili eating comps before? Is that your
Yeah.
first one?
Yeah, I've done. I did one last year, last October, actually just a day before my birthday. It was the first competition, and it was great. I more or less jumped in because so many people were, they were wanting to see me compete. They were wanting to see if, see me on the stage. So that was the initial sign up. This time it's a new event, a first ever. And it's only 4-hour drive from my house, not too bad. So I gladly jumped on board to compete again. I'm looking forward to that one. I had been sick for like the last 2 weeks, so this will be interesting to come back and really start to try to eat spicy stuff again at a full capacity. Because right now, it was the other day, I was just chomping on a pepper with my meal. Still not, still to this day, I would probably say I'm almost back to normal 100%, but still just a little bit off. So the other day it was, still, I was actually way worse then, but I felt it. I felt it real hard in the stomach while sick, because it was just already, my stomach was uneasy from not feeling great, and then that. So looking forward to it. But I have a lot of training, I guess, if you will, which is a whole nother thing. It's like, do I even go full send on training, or do I just walk into this, and just let it rip? I already know that I do things a bit different. A lot of people like to prep. Over the years, I have found out that prepping, or trying to prep, because I still don't believe that I fully understand the concept, but I found out that prepping tends to be a worse off situation for me. I like to go in there with just, either breaking a fast or having a black coffee right before and just sipping that for a little bit, and walk in and sit down and
So
eat
what, pretty
peppers.
much an empty stomach.
Yeah. So.
You want some sort of cheesy, greasy feed, I'd say, beforehand. But yeah, no, everyone does it a bit different. We've had people that have, a can of cream rice. Might Jack have? He might have had a banana. Some people have bananas. I know people that have had Baileys and milk shots before the comp. So I've had a couple of drinkers over the years that just get pissed and then compete, but that's not recommended at all.
No.
Everyone's different. Everyone's got a little bit of a different training prep to it, but we'd definitely say don't compete on an empty stomach. But like I say, mate, just go in and do it. Really, they're pretty hard to train for chili eating events, especially to the extreme.
Yep.
Yeah, just rock up, mate. See how you go. I'm not sure
Yeah.
who you're up against, but I'm sure there'll be some pretty wild chili eaters in the lineup.
Yeah, the one last year was a pretty stacked deck of people that were competing, and so it was a lot of fun. Came down to just me and Fritz, who ended up winning, and it came down to speed. And so there was 10 peppers at the very end. Once I heard that he had 3 left, I just turned and clapped it out, because I was like, I'm not going to choke on a pod while sitting on stage with this recording, and then all of a sudden this is how I die. So I was like, nah, not today. So it was a lot of fun. I ended up eating 40 super hots and just
Ooh,
yeah,
40.
yeah. We started with 3 chocolate primo tallies for the first round, so it was a
Yeah.
lot of
Was that a
fun.
road to the America's Belt thing, was it? Or
Yeah, yeah. That was the dubbed the Dallas belt match. It's more East Texas than Dallas, but I get it. It's the closest big city.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was 40 and then the 10 chili race, or
No, no,
40
no.
all
The
up.
40 was exactly where I had eaten exactly 40. The total, if you completed the full speed round, that was 43. So I ended
Yeah.
up just clapping it out in last three, and yeah,
Still a pretty good effort, bro.
yeah, yeah,
Very
yeah.
good
No,
effort.
I also am not one that likes to purge per se. I have issues with trying to purge, so I ended up grabbing a carbonated kombucha, and I just downed that large amount and just ended up waiting it out for a little bit, and then couldn't wait anymore, so I just downed that and then jumped up and down over there by a tree until it just like fizzed up in my stomach and helped aid me to get it out. So
Yeah, yeah, you're definitely better off getting it out than in, that's for sure.
yeah, I mean
But
it
there
was
are
like
still people that hold it in, mate, and don't throw up. We've had people compete before that had never thrown up in their whole life. So yeah, it was pretty hard to get them out
yeah,
because
yeah,
they just keep eating them, mate. They just keep going. It's just like holy hell. We even had Gabby from Aussie come over one year when she won the Oceania bout. Must have been 50 odd chilies, not sure the exact amount. And then she went out to a drum and bass gig that night and partied all night till about 6 in the morning, mate, and never threw it up. But she
man,
didn't have receptors either. She didn't feel it at all. Like, to the point where I reckon she probably could have ripped chilies and rubbed them in her eyes and would probably have been sweet. But we didn't get her to do that, but I reckon she probably could have.
wow, wow, that is a whole nother level. That's that superhuman genetics right there, because
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not sure the percentage of people that are like that. We've had a few over the years, but she was definitely the one with the least, I think, that I've ever seen. Just yeah, no reaction, mate, and it's just like, my God, what the hell? But
yeah,
yeah, I don't know. She had some Colombia. She was from Colombia originally, so I think everyone sort of thought she was dropped into a big cauldron of hot sauce as a baby or something like that.
Uh, yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Yep, I can see it now. That's how she gets her superpowers. Yeah, no, it's definitely intense. The only time I ever don't like I don't know how to say it, but I guess other than like don't fight my body is whenever I was competing, and I already plan to not do it again for this upcoming round. So the second that I have any kind of sinuses opening up, the mucus and the tears are running, I just let it go. If it gets too bad, I just start closing my eyes and I just let it go. Because there's no point in trying to keep up with wiping your face and trying to do it. You're there for one purpose and one purpose only, and that's to eat those chilies. So as long as my mouth and my hands are functioning, I will be eating peppers. So that's the
Yeah,
overall game
some
plan.
start getting the shakes, the old Naga claw where they can hardly even pick the chilies up. And yeah, we've had it where people's noses are going and everything's just going. And it's just like, yeah, like you say, no point even wiping it. But
Yeah. I know
yeah,
some people get grossed out in the crowd, and it's just like it is what it is. But you know, if I took the time to wipe my face every 2 seconds, I don't know if it would be a good use of the time, or if everything would have been completed in that same allotted time frame. So, yeah,
well,
yeah,
you start getting chili on your face as well. I mean, we don't use gloves down here. I see a lot of comps, they do use gloves. We did have a chicken wing round and one of them way back in the years, and I had a mate that was in there and he rubbed his eyes and then he couldn't see at all, and he was basically just reaching out for the chilies completely blind. But he went on and won it. I don't know how many rounds he was blind, but he couldn't see at all, and it was just like it just kept going. It's
yeah.
yeah.
At a certain point, it's just like you're literally only fighting that mental block, and then after the mental block is done, you're good to go. But something that you had mentioned, obviously, with everyone kind of coming to New Zealand for these competitions, you mentioned Mike Jack. Who has been, I mean, they don't have to be the biggest person there, but who's been like the most impactful or memorable from your standpoint?
Well, probably be 2019. We had Johnny Scoville come down, and I gave him a wild card into our New Zealand final. At that point, we'd had no international guests at all, and Johnny he was getting pretty big on YouTube, I suppose, back then. So he came down, and all the Kiwis that were competing. It might have been the year Justin Rummel won it. So he's actually an Aussie, but he's a New Zealand resident at that point. So we sort of have a thing: you've got to be a New Zealand resident to be the New Zealand champion. So yeah, he came down, and he actually ended up coming fifth. So we had four Kiwis and an Aussie that basically beat him. Because no one wanted to go up against him at the start. They all thought they had no chance. And I was like, well, no, I don't think he's ever competed in a comp that goes for 2 hours before, like you've all got a shot. And he doesn't like to throw up on stage either. So when he was done kind of thing. But yeah, that was probably one of the most memorable ones. I guess that put us on the global chili eating map at that point. And then, of course, Mike Jack coming down to take on Greg for the world bout back in 23, I think that was. That was pretty huge. And we did that comp earlier on, so I had to run the world bout and then the New Zealand final later that day, which was actually the Oceania bout as well. So we do them together, the New Zealand final, Oceania bout. If the Aussies win, well, they won the Oceania bout, but whoever's the top Kiwi, which, has been us. The last few years, they won the New Zealand title. So, yeah, it's been quite cool to have a few international guests. Another one was probably Neil Smith that came over from Aussie.
Nice.
He's one of the OG YouTube reviewers. Not so much anymore. I think he sold his business. He's got a capsaicin cream now. He still does. But he's been over a couple of times. And me and him did a Big Black Mama on stage one year, which... yeah, it's quite funny footage, really. Kicks my ass totally. He's all good, really. There's hiccups and there's tears and there's, the nose is going. But yeah, so we've had a few international guests. We would have had Shahina coming down to challenge for her world bout back off Rummel in 2019, but was it 2020? Whenever COVID hit and stuffed everything up, and we pretty much shut ourselves off for a year or two, a couple of years. I think we were kind of shut down at the bottom of the world. So, yeah, the future's looking bright though. We'll see how Dom goes up against the best in Europe and America. I think Scoville units in that one in Italy at the end of August.
Okay.
So who knows? We might have the Intercontinental bout back down these parts of the world, and then we can do another big comp down here, I guess.
Yeah, no, it sounds like a lot of fun. I mean, there's a lot of, extreme eaters in that. I guess really the Australia, New Zealand, like that whole section. I mean, it's just packed with overall just heat eaters. And everyone's doing great things down there. From what I've been able to kind of keep up with different challenges and the constant pushes, it seems like such a tight-knit community collectively. Like, you mentioned all the time the more or less the rivalry aspect of, Australia versus New Zealand on things. But at the same time, it's online. There's still so much love and support for just the overall pushes, the overall continuation to compete and all that stuff. So that part's amazing to see. And it's always exciting to watch that continue to grow and to bud. So hats off to y'all down there, because it's still also, I mean, like the idea and the concept of just simply the growing season switch. It's like as things are dying down here and it's getting cold, and I'm sure y'all probably do this to some extent as well. It's always fun to kind of tune in to what's going on with the grows and everything that's going on down there for y'all as our winter starts and it's just cold and you don't have any fresh pods. It's a way to live vicariously through what's going on social media.
Yeah, it's quite cool with the different seasons, Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere. I mean, I just picked some more chilies yesterday pretty much. So they're kind of, plants have slowed right down now. I'm up the top of New Zealand, so it's not as cold as down the south. It's a lot wetter, kind of more tropical rain. We probably haven't really gone below 6 degrees. I don't know what that works out to in Fahrenheit, but not freezing as such. A couple of light frosts. So we do have quite a long season.
Mhm.
And then obviously the Aussies with Queensland, and they've got the tropics. They kind of almost can get chilies more all year round. I'm
Oh,
guessing
nice.
Florida and even Texas, maybe you can get chilies a lot longer than you would if you're up the top of America.
Yep.
It's good seeing everyone's chilies come on at different times of year. It means you've got a full cycle through the year of crazy chilies and new crosses coming out. And it just seems to be growing worldwide all the time. So for New Zealand and Australia, we're quite small populations as well, I suppose. We're only 5.5 million here, and Aussie's about 25. So maybe we're 30 million between us. So it's it's a very big growing scene at the moment, and we've kind of got quite favourable growing conditions too. So it's good to grow chilies down here for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the scenery alone, the overall landscape in New Zealand is the whole reason. That was the initial catalyst as to why, God, this had to be oh 06, 07, I think, is whenever I officially put that on my bucket list of places that I would love to visit. Is New Zealand, and it's simply because the initial thing was simply because of how beautiful everything is there, and I was just like completely floored and blown away by the overall beauty that can be, and just the simple fact of like caring for the land, and not really like here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in Texas, like so much here is just this massive city of, there's not really all this great things to look at. If you're into the city life, that's great for you, for you to be able to experience here, but not for what I'm looking for, right? And so just because of that the whole thing has been worked it to where New Zealand is definitely a bucket list item for me to want to go visit and experience. And so, yeah, the growing season there, y'all having that, you had mentioned having kind of the more tropical aspect where you are. The main drawback for where we are at here in Texas with the whole growing conditions and everything, the summers ended up just like, choking us out to where basically everything kind of stalls and stops for a second, and then you have to basically get back into it. So while our growing season window may look like a very nice widespread, it's kind of met with some minor challenges along the way. So definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can get up to close to 50 degrees in the tunnels over summer. But yeah, if you get that consecutive days in a row, your plants will start to wilt. And I guess you guys have hurricane season and things like that come through as well. So if you've got outdoor crops, they're pretty much, we've got cyclones down here. So you can, if you've got them outdoors, you can lose your crop over the summer as well. And then the Aussies have things like fruit flies and more pests that we don't have. And there's always challenges growing chilies wherever you are. Ours is sort of an undercover. Otherwise, the excessive rain would kill most of my plants. But, you just got to do what you can do. We seem to have a pretty good crop most years, and not the most technical of growers, I suppose, but just do what works for us and, try and get a good crop each year.
Yeah, no, definitely. It makes sense. Now, you had mentioned earlier you grow your own peppers. Do you solely grow, or do you also source from other local growers the overall ingredients that you use in your sauces or other spicy products?
Yeah, I grow most of them. I mean, I did have a good grower a few years back, but they decided to leave New Zealand after COVID and retire to Mexico. So they're up there now. I know, mate. 60-year-old, in their 60s German couple. I won't go into the story behind that, but anyway, they decided it'd be better to retire up there than down here. So yeah, I've got a few other growers that I do buy off, and I've got a new grower set up for this year. Obviously, that's outside, so you can't count your chickens before they're hatched, a sort of thing. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, try and grow as much as I can. But yeah, with running these chili eating comps and your sauces and things like that, yeah, it's hard to grow enough to have enough basically to get through the whole year. So
Yeah.
we're getting there. Hopefully this new grower goes off and we'll have a heap next year to play around with and burn some people with, mate. Hopefully, get some few more internationals down here for a mad ass chili comp.
I like the sound of that. Does not make sense to me. And, once again, not we have to dive into that, but just wanted to touch on the fact, like, blows my mind that someone would want to leave New Zealand to go to Mexico. Other than possible cost of living difference, is it really worth it? In my mind, no. No, I think I would be rather graced by the beauty that is New Zealand than to be in the middle of Mexico. So,
Yeah, I
to
think they're
each
down
their
the
own.
south somewhere. But you don't have to worry about dealing with council to put an extension on your house, and it's a bit more lax, I suppose, and less bureaucracy maybe.
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, there's a few other reasons, but I still
yeah,
can't get over that one myself, really. But New Zealand was a bit of a crazy time back a few years as well, with everything going on, and got quite divided, I suppose you could say. And we're
yeah,
still recovering from locking down as well back then, as far as the economy and
yeah,
everything that comes along with that. So yeah, I'm staying here anyway. I'm not going anywhere, but have to get a
yeah.
passport again first, eh?
Yeah,
I would like to go to Blazin, Italy next month, but yeah, that won't be happening. But yeah, that Reti festival will definitely be on a bucket list for me one year, no doubt about it.
nice. Yeah, that festival is going to be interesting one to watch. It's going to be as far as the level of caliber of competing chili eaters that are going to be over in Italy is going to be definitely one for the record books. So looking forward to that upcoming competition for sure.
I think it's probably one of the most legendary lineups ever of chili eaters. Really, pretty hard to pick a winner. I imagine they're going to have quite a few of them left by the time they get to the speed round as well. So Giancarlo's pretty quick on the speed. I know Dom's not too bad. It's always hard to say, like
Yeah,
Mike Jack's not going to be there. I know Scoville unit will probably still be there at the end. I think he was going, isn't he? Yeah. But then there's a fair few others as well that you just don't know who's going to take out a chili comp. It can go either way. And yeah, I'll definitely be getting up in the middle of the night probably to watch that one.
yeah, yeah. I definitely I can agree with that. That would be a good one. Something that you had mentioned earlier, and I know that I loosely understand it, but for those that are watching, listening, might not be familiar, you had mentioned earlier, referred to New Zealanders as Kiwis. What is the overall, like, what is it? Why? And how did it come to be? Do you know?
Wow, I guess because our kind of national bird is known as the kiwi. Kiwis, I suppose, can't fly, but you'll meet New Zealanders all around the world, so we still managed to get on a plane. But yeah, we're just kind of known as Kiwis, eh? Not the fruit, the
Yeah,
bird.
yeah, yeah. Well, subtle nod, I should say, towards the game coming up soon. I thought about putting the bird on there, but I didn't want people around the world who weren't familiar with it to be like completely dumbfounded by it. So the fruit has made its presence on the game for that reason, but a subtle substitute there. But yeah, A very, very interesting looking bird, by the way. The kiwi bird is I mean, um, it's not completely different than, say, a traditional bird, but just the way that it looks so fuzzy, it looks so light, and then it's got that long beak. So it's definitely an interesting one. And so you're saying so the kiwi bird does not fly. I had no clue about that.
No, they don't fly, and they've got a lot of predators, so they're pretty much endangered down here. I live in an area where we still have a few, but with sort of stoats and ferrets and things like that, and wild dogs and cats as well. They're definitely kind of under threat. But one interesting thing is that for a bird mass, they actually have the biggest egg out of every bird in the world.
Oh
Like
wow,
the egg is huge. God knows how they lay them because they're not.
yeah.
I don't know, I guess you'd say they're like a big chicken or something, a bit bigger, obviously longer beaks and yeah, but they're still around, and there's islands around New Zealand where we've got protected. There's no pests as such on the islands, so they're kind of got kiwi and kakapo, and yeah, there's a lot of native birds that are only in New Zealand, and they're quite
Okay.
cool looking birds and stuff like that. But the ones that can't fly, they've got it pretty blooming tough, really, with the predators and pests and stuff like that around.
Yeah, yeah, that's got to be a bad day. You're born into this world as a flightless bird, trying to fend yourself against all these other prey and anyone that might be just slightly interested in trying to pick you up, and all you want to do is just live your life and run around, and now you can't even escape it to its fullest extent by flying. So. Pretty interesting. I'm always like, I guess, what is it? Is it ostriches also that can't fly? I can't remember. There's a larger bird that also cannot fly, and I'm just like, mind blown by it.
Well,
I
the
mean,
ostrich can't. I mean, we used to have the moa, and the moa was a huge, huge bird, bigger than an ostrich and emu and stuff. But yeah, they kind of got eaten out, really. I mean, they've been extinct for a long time. But old Peter Jackson from Lord of the Rings, he wants to bring them back. He's got thousands of bones of them, and now they're all talking about bringing back the moa. So I don't know where that'll go. Whether
yeah.
bringing things from the past back or not. I don't know where I stand on that, but be
Yeah,
interesting.
it definitely is interesting. It's one of those topics that like I personally look into. I'm always curious about weird, fascinating, odd things like that. Also a little bit more obscure things at times, and it's just I I'm not the biggest fan of the idea of all that happening, but at the same time, for some reason, there's a little bit that's slightly exciting to see what's possible. But at the same time, like, regardless of what comes back, it is never, in my mind, it is never exactly what they were trying to bring back, because it's got to have something else as essentially its DNA vessel almost. So it's never going to be purely whatever they're trying to recreate. So that's the part that's a little bit more of the frightening aspect to me. It's like, what is this mutation?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing now. They can bring back anything, really, can't they? They can crossbreed anything. I mean, we could create new animals or birds or bloody dinosaurs or anything these days. But yeah, I'll just stick to the chilies.
Yeah, yeah.
Chilies, not peppers.
Yep, yep. Well, depending on where you're at geographically.
Well,
But yeah,
Columbus, he named it wrong, mate. He thought he got to India and he named it the pepper, but it wasn't the pepper, mate. So
yeah.
yeah, I always try and say chilies, but don't worry, I say it myself sometimes. I'm like,
You,
"Are
you
you
know,
calling it a pepper?"
around here in Texas too, the amount of times that I'll say chilies and people like, or I'll say, you know, chili peppers even, and people will kind of like immediately associate it with like chili that you would either eat in a bowl or that you would
Yeah, the
put on a
dish,
hot
yeah.
dog. And I'm like, no, 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 like not the food, like peppers, like, and oh, okay, then it clicks in their head, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, all
Yeah, well,
right.
it's like, I mean, I spell it chili with two L's. I get people sometimes like, no, it's got one L. I lived in Mexico, they spell it with one L. And I was like, well, yeah, but they also speak Spanish, mate. We speak English here. And it's like, see, chili with an E, I would say is the dish, chili con carne kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then, hey, you're in South America, it's an ají, pepper, chili, same
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
But, I don't think there's any other fruit, vegetable in the world with the same amount of color variations, flavor variations, heat variations. It is, the greatest. I don't know, now call it a fruit or a vegetable. That's always a debate as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's technically a fruit, but a lot of people would classify and categorize it as a vegetable because of what they perceive also as not having any kind of sweet aspect. But those that have had their fair share of different chilies, they understand that ultimately there can be some even Superhots with sweet, fruity undertones. So,
Oh, totally. Like yeah, there's lots of fruitiness in some of those Superhots, especially the yellow ones. Chocolate ones, not so much, but it's
hey, those are even coming around. I've had between last year and then what I have had so far this year, I've actually had a handful of chocolate pods actually come through with a level of sweetness and a slight fruity note. And it's been super interesting, but now that does quickly transition into a little bit of either a nutty or an earthy as the undertone that starts to become the main focus. But finding those hidden gems are always great, and they're mind-blowing to see. So
yeah, I just find the chocolate so blooming hot. It's hard to get too many flavors out of them. You get the bitterness, you get the earthiness, but you get that dihydrocapsation burn. That deeper burn. It's just like, oh my god, like.
yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think chocolates are pretty much the hottest ones, really, but obviously they don't rate as highly when the Scoville units are all sort of tested out. But yeah, the old dihydrocapsation, she's got some heat.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the same reason why those really any of the Mama line, but in particular, the ones that rock me the hardest from the Mama line is the big caramel Mama and the big mustard Mama. Those two pods, they do something fierce to attacking my mouth and my gums. And ultimately, that is one of my biggest weaknesses is the overall mouth burn. It doesn't matter how much I eat, how much I try to build my tolerance. Everywhere else will raise. My mouth tolerance seems to stay pretty much the same the whole way through. It is absolutely atrocious to deal with. But peppers like that also are exciting to me because while I might be eating something that's substantially hotter, sure, by the scales rating, those rock me so much harder. And I appreciate that because I mean that's ultimately the seek that I'm looking for is that burn, is that overall level of panic to kind of kick in.
Yeah, and they're big pods too. So it's like, I know most of them, they kind of get rated around their 1.4 million mark. But yeah, anything that can hit 1.4, 1.5 can pretty much be as hot as a blooming 2 million Scoville pepper, really, in the end of the day. But yeah, no, I love the mamas. The big peach mamas probably kick my ass one of the most, and I mean, I don't eat a lot. Usually I do one sort of chili eating video of a super hot a year, but they just destroy me, mate. So it's like, I don't know how these people can just eat like 50, 60, 100 of them, but yeah, some people are just superhuman, I suppose, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
On another dimension.
It's always wild to see. And so, yeah, no, completely makes sense. I guess real quick before we jump over to the game, what is the overall pepper that you do find the most comfortable or as like an everyday use? Is there a pepper or a heat range that you kind of stick around?
Um, I like to use a lot of different ones, really. Recently, I've had a lot of blondies. A lot of my super hots have slowed down, but I still had an old blondie plant. They're pretty prolific. Around 100,000 Scovilles, still got that kind of nice citrusy note. Just chop them up. Otherwise, like the bird's eyes, like a good yellow bird's eye, yellow Vitalis, Scotch Bonnet, Big Suns, sort of that middle of the range. I don't mind chopping up a bit of a yellow Maruga or something like that to go to the next level, but definitely like the yellow ones probably the most, and the peach as far as that kind of fruitiness goes. Big peach mum is always fun to chop a bit in there, but yeah, no in particular favourite chili. I mean, there's just too many, mate. I mean, with thousands and thousands of varieties, I don't know, grow close to maybe 100, but even that's kind of hard to keep up with. You have one plant, and if you don't collect seeds from that plant and that plant dies, you kind of lose that line, really, which I've definitely lost a few over the years, which is a little bit sad when it happens, but there's always new ones.
Yeah.
You move on.
Absolutely. Yeah, and yes, to that point, there's way, way, way more varieties and different crosses, etc., available for everyone to kind of get their hands on. And that part alone is over daunting with what is available, because it always comes into effect of, what do I grow? What am I looking for? What kind of profiles am I wanting in this product? And you really have to kind of back engineer into that. But at the same time, you also have to expose yourself and try new peppers that are coming out to see if there's possibly a better fit for that. And the whole thing is, it's great to see the massive level of growth happen, but at the same time, from a keeping up with that exponential burst of adoption, it becomes a bit more of a challenge overall.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when you'll end up with some accidental crosses in there as well, and it's like, whoa, what the hell is this chili? And it's like, oh, looks like this, looks like this. You know how it is. All the new crosses around the place. I mean, I've got a few of my own, which are all my own. I don't, of course, you'll make up a name for them, I suppose, as well, and try and grow it out for 7 seasons, see if it stabilizes and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's just fun to grow. Yeah, everything. And if you get across, you get across, as long as it's hot, because, I'm mainly about the super hots, but do grow a lot of lesser heat ones, mainly for seeds and, personal cooking and things like that, really. But, yeah, it's just a fun game to play. Game to play.
Definitely is. Definitely is. Well, let's do this. Let's go ahead and jump on over to the game.
Yep, sweet. Let's go.
All right, here we go. We have a very special round of Keep 5, Cut 5. Now, I'll go ahead and explain this one here. And for all of those that this may be your first time checking out Keep 5, Cut 5, on the screen here, you will see 10 images. They are all numbered 1 through 10. So I will list them off with their number, so those that are just audio listening are able to keep up with what's going on. The best way to go about this game, though, is to either pick a keep or a cut first, and what you're going to do is just alternate. So if you pick a keep first, then you're going to do a cut, and then a keep, and then a cut, and so on and so forth, and we'll talk through some of these as we go. But first on the list, number 1 is Russell Crowe. Number 2 is to just simply be for the overall rugby as a whole. Now, this is the New Zealand rugby team. And then, something that New Zealand's also known for is wine. So I have here the Sauvignon Blanc and the port as well on this list. But that is to represent New Zealand wine. Number 4, here's where that substitute came in. So we have the kiwi fruit instead of the kiwi bird. So not to confuse those that are, watching and listening that might not be familiar with it. Number 5 is Jimmy Jackson. So absolute love this guy. He's hilarious. So he made the list, obviously being from New Zealand. Easy go-to there. Number 6, this is just a diagram, a representation. This is representing in-ground cooking. So number 6 is in-ground cooking. Number 7 is Lorde. I was trying to rack my brain on potential songs of hers. I for the life of me, I know that I have heard them. I remember seeing them, but I can't think or recall one. But she's number 7. Number 8 is a New Zealand pie. So, absolutely amazing looking piece of cuisine right here. So looking forward to seeing how that one fares. Number 9 is, well, you kind of mentioned it earlier. This is the Hobbit houses, if you will, the Hobbit section of New Zealand, an attraction for all to be able to see and appreciate. And then number 10, well, this is Black Jag, MMA fighter, also from New Zealand. Where would you like to start? Keep or a cut?
Oh, we'll go cut, I suppose, eh? Might as well cut Russell Crowe because he's probably more of an Aussie than a Kiwi. I know they can have him. He lives over there, owns the thing. But, he's born over here. He's a Kiwi, I guess. But, he's one of those Kiwi Aussie boys. We can cut him out.
So would you say that he's put on the weight since becoming an Aussie instead of when he was spending more time in New Zealand? And he had this obviously this physique here was completely different than how he looks now. Most recent, I guess, movie that I can think of is whenever he played Zeus in the Thor movie. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, he was probably a bit more ripped then. And I think he still owns the old Rabbitohs Rugby League club over in Aussie. He's probably, probably too many pies, bro.
Yep. Definitely makes sense.
Nah, the Aussies can have Russell.
All right. Well, who are we keeping, or what are we keeping?
We'll keep Jimmy Jackson, mate. He's a Kiwi legend. Always crack up with his videos, and loves the pie and loves the Aussie Kiwi rivalry as far as the pies go. So, It seems to be heating up a bit down this part of the world, actually.
Yep. He's the one that turned me on to the whole idea of what the pies are and what that meant. And man, ever since then, it's like, all right, I need a legit New Zealand pie. So that has now joined the bucket list as a side marker next to why to go to New Zealand. So there we go.
We just had our pie awards yesterday, actually, funnily enough. So the potato top pie won yesterday, but then it's got like a sort of French gratin. I don't know, there's potato in the middle of the potato top pie. So you've got the mince, you've got the pastry, and then there's kind of, mashed potato on the top. So that won the supreme pie literally just yesterday. So, we definitely love our pies. And that was thousands of pies they had to judge to get a winner. So we take our pies pretty seriously down here.
Definitely do. All right. Well, would you like to do a keep or a cut? You can do either in this situation.
Yeah, well, you can cut Lord. Don't really know her music myself too much, eh? So
yep, that was kind of my thought as well. Somebody's probably going to hate me for it, but I honestly could not name one song from her.
Yeah, is it Loyal or something? Maybe, I don't know. It might be one I know. I don't really know, mate. I still listen to my 80s, 90s rock and stuff, really, eh? So don't keep up with the latest music. I know she's pretty big down here. I always find it funny on South Park when, old Randy is Lord.
Leave it to South Park. Always doing great things.
Oh, yeah, hilarious, mate. Hilarious, eh? It was the old lockdown specials during COVID, eh? It really helped us down this part of the world get through all that because they were hilarious.
Yep, absolutely. All right, well, what do you want to keep?
Wow. Probably we'll keep the hungy, or the under earth oven, as you called it. Down here, that's the hungy. So traditional Maori way of cooking food, or kai, as we'd say down here. Yeah, so we'll keep that. Good with hot sauce too. It's not traditionally a dish that goes with hot sauce, but I find a bit of that NZ green on a good hungy. It's good. So it's kind of meat and your potatoes, cabbage, kumara, or you say sweet potato up there, and pumpkin, basically, kind of steamed in the ground under hot rocks.
Nice.
It's always good to have a good hungy.
I like it. I definitely like that. All right. Well, would you like to do a keep or a cut next?
Oh, we haven't got the pie in yet. Well, you better get the New Zealand pie and the keep.
All right. There we go. All right. So remaining, we have rugby, we have wine, we have kiwi, we have the Hobbit houses, and then we have Black Jag, MMA fighter.
Black Jag, we've got quite a few MMA fighters. Don't know if I've seen him too much though. Israel Adesanya, Kai Kara, Dan Hooker. We'll probably keep the UFC in there, since it's getting pretty big down these parts of the world, really. And although the Aussies have got a couple of champs at the moment. Let me see. Wow. What do we got? I've got 3 I've got to get rid of.
Yep. So, Hobbit houses, Black Jag, rugby, and wine and kiwi remain.
Well, we'll get rid of the kiwi fruit because it's pretty much come from China anyway. Originally, it's not like it's a classic native New Zealand fruit, which most people think it is. But it is good in hot sauce, though. Although I don't use it in a hot sauce myself, but it does make a good hot sauce.
Okay. I've only ever been able to stomach it if it's in a smoothie. I don't think I've had it with. Maybe I've had a hot sauce with it, and I just don't remember. But ultimately, straight kiwi, I don't like it for some reason. I don't like the texture. I don't like the taste. So
it can give you that bit of furry feeling in your mouth as well, or whatever. Some people just eat them with the skin on and everything, really. But we do grow a lot here. I used to be a printer by trade, so I printed all the little blimmin' labels that are on every single piece of fruit.
Man,
kind of what I did before I got into the world of chili. Well,
so rugby, wine, Hobbit houses, Black Jag.
Oh, wow, getting tricky, I suppose. I don't mind the wine, but what are we going to do here? Yeah, well, we'll get rid of Hobbiton, I suppose. I haven't even been there actually myself, but did like the movies, and obviously Peter Jackson's done pretty well for himself. But good place to go though if you're down in New Zealand as far as a tourist and stuff goes, from what I hear. But amazingly, I haven't even been there myself, so we'll cross that off.
All right.
What have we got there? One more. Yeah, we'll get rid of the wine, and we'll keep Black Jag and the All Blacks in there.
All right.
Just because that's what we're probably known for around the world a bit, is the rugby. Even though personally I'd prefer the Warriors being there, mate, the old rugby league team, mate.
All right. Makes sense. Overall, a nice selection. And for those that are, maybe not as familiar with New Zealand, this kind of gives them a good idea of different things that New Zealand has and is known for. And that fighter in particular, the only reason why I picked him is he, out of that top 10 that were from New Zealand, he was the only one to have one loss, while everyone else had more than one loss. Now, granted, he didn't have as many fights as everyone, but 12-1 is still respectable in that overall breakdown. I mean, out of 13 fights, only losing one is it's a good record.
Yeah, I've been watching it more recently. I haven't been watching it a long time, but now my boy up here, he's into his Muay Thai and doing a bit of kickboxing and stuff up the north of New Zealand. So he's quite into it. So we generally, watch when the Kiwi boys are on. Like Carlos Ulberg's another one that's up and coming at the moment. I think he's number 3 in the light heavyweight. And then they seem to the Aussies and Kiwis are blooming stepping up on the old UFC scene at the moment, so it's interesting to see what comes up. I think there's one in Perth coming up pretty soon, so hopefully we'll have a world champion down these parts shortly.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think that the overall scene and the growth, as you're saying, it's a great thing to see. Obviously, it's going to be great for overall exposure for the different countries and et cetera. So that was Keep 5, Cut 5. Now is the chance for the nugget of knowledge. I guess we could gear this nugget of knowledge around. I'll leave this one up to you. Would you rather speak to the idea of overcoming a initial starting up of a hot sauce company problem, or would you like to address the approach the area of competitive eating in the spicy world, as far as like being a competitor in that.
Yeah, probably the competitiveness of the chili eating, I guess. Like yeah, guess it's similar to the UFC really now, with these belts and stuff around the world, and all these different countries from around the world being able to compete for the ultimate prize of being the best chili eater in the world. Yeah, hopefully one day we'll see it in the Olympics, eh? But maybe the X Games or something first could be the way through.
Yep, yep. That the day that happens, it's going to be an amazing one to see. And then I can always imagine the certain countries train at a much earlier age for things like this, and it's very deliberate on how they train and coach and bring these people in that are competing at an Olympics level. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of training grounds they start to push these, kids into if the competitive chili eating enters that Olympic level. So.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen many Chinese chili eaters yet, but I mean, if it was in the Olympics, I'm sure you would have some Chinese ones
Oh,
popping up out of nowhere that could power it back. And obviously, you could have a speed eating comp and an endurance, I suppose. So you could have two separate events there, really. Which, yeah, I guess a lot of them seem to involve the endurance and then speed at the end. It's kind of what League of Fire does. I still like to see an endurance. You just keep going, last man or woman standing. But that's the other thing. You can have a woman champion beat all the men as well. That's the great thing with chili eating. It's doesn't matter what race, religion, size. You can have a tiny little lady beat a big massive man. I mean, it's
yep.
yeah. I think that's the exciting thing about chili eating. Really, is you just don't know who's going to win, and anyone on their day can win.
Absolutely. That is one of the coolest aspects, and one that is really helping level set the playing field. But to that point, yeah, you haven't really seen China gear up in that manner, but it would be a little bit frightening, I would imagine, to see that kind of kick in, because they definitely push to the extremes whenever competing and gearing up for an Olympics event. So. It'd be interesting to see how that panned out, but yeah, no, all in all, I think great nugget of knowledge there. Now is your chance to put someone on the hot seat. This is someone that you think would make a great guest for the show.
Right. Now, I'm not sure of all the guests you've had. I did see you had old Paul Oro on recently. Have you had Shahina? She's my birthday sister.
Oh, I did not know that.
And I started running chili comps in 2011, and I think she competed in her first one in 2012. She's 97-0, I think, is her record at the
Mm-hmm.
moment. She hasn't competed for a while, but obviously hosts them now. I'd say Shahina, UK chili queen. And yeah, if she wasn't available, I'd maybe go someone like Neil Smith out of Australia.
Both
Yeah,
both
that'd
legends
be
in their own way. Absolutely amazing. And Shahina, yes, I have reached out. Maybe this will be the nudge that helps motivate her.
yeah, it
Uh,
should
so
be. She needs to come on, mate. She needs to come on.
I think that it's a great nomination, and definitely looking forward to reaching out to both of them as well and getting that squared away. So thank you so much for those nominations. And here's your chance for all those that are audio listening only. Where can they find you? How can they find you? If you have anything that you want to promote, or anything that's going on, this is your chance to do that.
Sweet. Well, yeah, you can find us at the website Fire Dragon Chillies .co.nz. That's chilies, CHILLIES. And we've got Fire Dragon Chillies Facebook, Fire Dragon Chillies Insta, and we've got a YouTube channel, but I probably need to do a bit more work on that, although we're still editing the 3-hour marathon from a couple of months ago, which we should have down to a nice 10-minute edited of the Oceania bout and New Zealand final coming up. Yeah. Otherwise, I guess you can, just reach out, just Google Fire Dragon Chillies, and we'll pretty much come up. So if you want to try out our sauces or our chili salts, chili chocolate, yeah, that's where to find us.
Clint, thank you so much for coming on. It has been an absolute pleasure. Obviously, there's still so much more we can dive into and really talk about, whether that be in the world of hot or just fun activities, because it sounds like there's quite a few that we could end up having a rather lengthy conversation about. So would love to have you back on, and thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, nah, sweet, bro. It was good to chat, and yeah, you'd be like Rogan if we started going over 2 hours, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Well, that is something I would love to do, is being able to take it from the hour and a half that I'm currently accustomed to and go into that 3 hour time frame. Obviously, that's a lot of an ask for both not only the guests, but those that are consuming the podcast. But, historical data shows that most people don't typically consume the podcast in one full sitting. It's more pick up and go as they, find fit. So definitely.
Yeah. Oh, you're doing a good job, bro. It's yeah, I'll have to go back and look at some of the older ones because I only just sort of discovered you kind of not so long ago, really. So yeah, but obviously you got some good guests and lots of people I've dealt with for years have been on. So yeah, good work. Keep it up, and yeah, talk soon.
Clint, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. It was an absolute pleasure having you on the show here tonight. If you want to keep up with Fire Dragon Chillies, I'll have all the ways which you can connect with him, as well as a link to the main site, so you can check out the full lineup of amazing products from Fire Dragon Chillies. Now, if you want to pick up the products that were featured here on Hot or Not, I will have those as well, direct link down below, so you can check out what I was trying here tonight on the podcast. Want to continue to thank you all so much for continuing to share this out with other like-minded chili heads or individuals that are just curious about the world of hot, because this is where you can find everything to do with the world of hot. Don't forget, new episodes drop every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central. And I want to give a quick shout out for our sponsors, podvision.io. If you're looking to grow your brand, start your brand, you've hit a bump in the road, you're trying to figure things out, highly recommend checking out podvision.io for all of those needs, as well as webdx.one. Maybe you have an online site. Maybe you had somebody at one point, but you've lost contact with them. Maybe you never got around to building yourself a site. Highly recommend checking out webdx.one for all of those needs. They make it simple, painless, easy, and they make you looking great online while you can keep doing what you do best. I'm Brandon Swear, and from everything from the world of hot, this has been The Swear Word.